And I'll just let people in as they're coming. Um, I want to welcome my dear friend Megan to our team call because I've been promising you guys. So, Megan, what we did coming out of convention is I made a commitment to have a team call every single once a week and to not bail even if nobody showed up. And so we did it. I think we only missed like one since convention. And so they're just tired of hearing from me. I mean, we all know I like to talk, but it's like I'm a lot. So I was like, let me phone some friends and see. So, without further ado, Megan, Diamond Ambassador, I'm going to hand it over to her. And in case you missed my post, she was on two leaderboards last week. So, and I don't know where you are in the cruise, but are you shopping yet? We're ready to hear all of the amazing things from you. Take it away.
Okay, I will share a little bit about that too.
Perfect.
But yes, I'm Megan. I am a diamond with Plexus, obviously. I'm in Ohio and I have been with Plexus over 10 years now, which is like, besides my marriage, the longest committed relationship I've ever been in. Because I don't love commitment. So like that speaks volumes. So I met Christy years ago at Jules School, and I just love her and love her story. So I'm excited. She is shared with my team on our team call, and I am excited. Hopefully, I can live up to like half of what she is on this call tonight. But before we get started, just what I wanted to share tonight, I wanted to give you some background just in case you don't know my story or where I've come from, because what I feel like I connect most with people's stories. And when I hear bits and pieces of myself and their stories, I'm like, okay, that's motivating. Okay, that's what encourages me. So when I started 10 years ago, I was really a very tired mom. I had two boys, two and under. And I was just exhausted. I had migraines all the time. I felt not like myself. And so my friend Tamara Holloway kept posting about Plexus, and I unfollowed her because I thought that's obnoxious. Um, but like I'm one of those people that like I unfollowed, but then I would like go stalk her a little bit just to see what she was up to. And so like I saw her having fun. She was at convention. She was earning big checks, which was like one of my bucket list items in life was to get a giant check. And so she was doing all this fun stuff. And so finally it got to me and I prayed and I said, God, if I'm supposed to do this, like let me know. And she was doing a 3-day giveaway. I commented and said, hey, I want to try a sample. She picked my name. It was rigged. And so she sent me the sample. I was like, okay, I'm going to jump in. This is my sign. I'm going to do this, and started sharing right away. I started sharing before my products actually came in. I had my 3 days that I had gotten from her, and I was just like using that to share. And so right away, I started noticing my headaches were less. I didn't have to take prescription medicine for my migraines. I wasn't like laying on the floor in the toy room while my boys played around me. I was actually able to interact with them. And one of the biggest blessings that I didn't even know Plexus would help with was I was someone who was never had a regular cycle, which made getting pregnant very, very difficult. With our first baby, it took me a year to get pregnant. It took me on the highest dose of Clomid to get pregnant, which helps you ovulate. And then, when we wanted to go for a second child, everyone told me it's going to be so much easier. Like your body knows what to do. Well, my body didn't know what to do and it wasn't easier. And so I had to take Clomid again to get pregnant with our second son. And so if you've ever struggled or ever gotten a negative pregnancy test when you were trying, like that is just a huge weight and so discouraging. So I noticed I was nursing my second son when I started. And I noticed when I got my cycle back that it was regular, which had never happened to me before in my life. Um, and so when we decided to try for a third child, we got pregnant in the first month. Nothing, no help, nada, just Plexus. And I like that was crazy and it was so exciting and such a blessing. So we had a third son. And then we decided, let's go for one more. And so when we went to try for our fourth child, we got pregnant in that very first month again. So I went from needing fertility treatments for medications for the first two without Plexus to with Plexus. I was able to get pregnant right away. And we have four healthy, beautiful boys. And that is probably my biggest Plexus blessing, is that like I don't know, what our family would look like without it. Um, and so I was seeing all these results with the products, and I needed to make enough to cover the cost of my products because I stayed at home. I was babysitting out of my home to help, make our budget match what we were making. And so I needed to make up that $100 that I was spending on Plexus each month. And so I started posting right away. And so I think it was in my fourth month, I finally made like $500, and that's what I was making babysitting from my home. And like to me, that was life changing. Like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this from home with my kids. Like I'm having fun with it. I was posting, I was sharing, reaching out, having meetings, all that. And so once I reached that mark where I was matching my own income in my home, I was like, okay, like maybe I always thought I could be a jewel, but now I'm gonna do it. Like I want this. And so it took me about 21 months from signing up, and I went Emerald. And then it was a couple years after that that I hit Diamond. Um, and one of the biggest blessings besides our boys that I found on the business side was we had always aimed to be debt free. We didn't have any debt but our house payment, and we wanted that paid off. And so we had a 30-year loan on our house. And with my Plexus earnings, we would take that extra money and pay off towards the principal each year. And so when they shot my Diamond documentary, we went to the bank and made our final payment on our house, and we were able to pay off our house in 10 years, instead of 30, which like was like that wouldn't have been possible without Plexus. Like I don't know where that money would have come from. And so not only that, we have been able to give in such big ways. When I started to see success in this business, I prayed like, don't let me find success until I can handle that success and be able to give to others and share that blessing that you've given us. And so we are able to give to so many organizations each year. And that, if I see a need, if I see someone struggling, like I can be like, okay, let me help you. I can do that. Or I see an organization has a need, I can be like, oh, let me help you out with that. And so that has been huge as well, because it's so fun. Like what Alec Clark always says, when you're blessed, be a blessing. And that's what I have, that's part of my motivation in doing this, is being able to help others. So it's been life-changing health-wise. It's been life-changing business-wise. After we paid off our mortgage, we were able to start getting into real estate. And so we own, I think we're up to 6 rental homes now, where, we're having another stream of income come in because we were able to use what I make from Plexus to do that. We were able to purchase a lake house down in Lake Cumberland. I don't know if anyone knows where that is, but that was always a dream of ours, to have a place where our family could gather and make memories. So all of that is because of Plexus. Like those were just dreams. I had made a dream board when I first started, and it had all these things on there, and to see them come true as I went along, I like was just mind blowing, because who would have thought like me with my 300 Facebook friends who didn't get out much, who was overwhelmed, um, could do this. Like it just doesn't seem possible, but it is. I mean, I'm just proof that anyone can do this. But what I wanted to talk to you tonight is about showing up in your business, because 10 years in, I still struggle with this sometimes, and it's still hard for me sometimes. And so one of those like mental roadblocks I recently experienced was the cruise. Did anyone like, am I the only one, or did anyone see that cruise come out, Leaders Retreat, and you're like, oh yay, that's great for people to earn, but probably not for me? Or was I the only one? No. Because I saw that contest and I thought, oh, that's a lot of points. And I was dealing with like a lot of feeling like I was failing and I couldn't do this. And so I thought, no, like we're going to do this. I'm going to show my team what's possible. I'm going to show myself what's possible. And so showing up for me looked like joining forces with other like-minded people. Do you guys have sideline sisters or runners or people you run with at all? I have been through several throughout the years, and some of those relationships are going to fuel you and push you, and some of those are just going to keep you kind of on a straight line, and some of those are going to bring you down. And I've had all of those. But I found some people to lock arms with that are pushing me and motivating me. And so when I thought I couldn't, they were like, "No, we're going to do this. Let's work towards it.
Go ahead.
Let's do this." And so find
Okay.
those people and connect and lock arms with those people, because that's who you want to be around, because they were speaking belief into me when I wasn't speaking belief into myself, and they helped push me until I could. So, and don't rely on your upline or someone else to make those connections for you. Um, the people that I've connected with were people that I took the initiative to like go out and find and connect with. So don't wait for someone else to do that for you. You can do that on your own, no matter what level you are. And if something doesn't work for you, that's okay to walk away from that relationship if it's not making you grow and making you better. Okay, so I showed up in that with those running buddies, but also showing up in my prayer life. I had used to pray over my business all the time, and I still would, like, scatterbrained, every so often, but I got very deliberate in how I was praying over my business. And I just remember I made this prayer that just if God could bring abundance in my business, like I wanted to see abundance. And so like that was on a Friday, and by Monday I had signed up 8 people, and I had had 0 on Friday. And so just changing the way that I prayed in my business, and I'm telling, like Christy said, I made it on the leaders board last week. I'm 10 years in. I have never made it on the leaders board for personal enrollments before in my life. Like, and so to do that 10 years in, like a God thing, but also like showing up on social media. I hadn't been showing up in social media. Like it just, I don't know if you've ever found yourself where life is just busy. We homeschool our four, or I homeschool our 4 boys. They're in sports constantly, like things that we're flipping a house, things are just always going on. And it was really hard for me to be intentional about what I was posting and what I was sharing. And so I started to show up on social media more and make posts that were like engaging and getting people to interact, and in my stories as well. And so there were people watching and commenting and asking about like those 8 that I had order Plexus, only one of them had I had a conversation about Plexus with. Like they had seen what I was posting, and they ordered. So show up on your social media. Even when you think no one is watching, they are. And it's like the most random people that you wouldn't even expect. So don't stop posting. Don't stop, don't think no one's paying attention. Because there were times when I wasn't posting and people would reach out to me and be like, "Do you still sell Plexus? Do you still do that?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, I do." And I knew I needed to get better at it. And it's never too late if you've been in a slump and you're not posting and you feel like it's weird to get back into it, it's never too late to jump back in. You can post about something new that you haven't posted about before. Just get that interest, but show up in your social media. Show up in your personal development. What are you reading? What are you listening to? I just have a new book that I just ordered that a friend recommended to me, and I just did a training on how to grow my business and use social media better. So show up I mean, do it for yourself, because you want to grow for you and show yourself that you can do it. So, listen to podcasts that might appeal to you, read books, do trainings. There's a lot of free resources out there. I know there's a lot of paid trainings out there, but there's so much free stuff out there that you can do and you can use to help yourself grow. So, like I said, I went from thinking there's no way that I'm gonna earn this cruise. I'll cheer my friends on who are going for it. But it almost felt too vulnerable to say that I was gonna push for it because I didn't want to fail at it. And so now I'm 500 points away from the shopping spree. I earned the cruise, I earned some of the prices. Like I am still a little bit in disbelief that like this happened. September was crazy, but I just want to encourage you. I mean, I know September was double points, but you have 3 months, 2.5 months left of this contest. If you are struggling, or maybe you felt the same way, do not give up on yourself. You owe it to yourself to try. And the worst thing that'll happen is that you add to your business, you add some new VIPs to your business. Maybe you don't make the cruise, but at least you feel confident in yourself that you can get people on the products. But just never give up on yourself. Show up and keep showing up, because big things can happen. So that's kind of what I wanted to share, Christy. I don't.
Thank you so, so much. I love that. And you guys, when I met Megan at our jewel training, I remember calling Rob that night and being like, Rob, there's a girl here who doesn't wear any makeup. Like we all have those visions, right? I'm not the only one. You have like a thing in your head of what you think jewels look like. And that's how I was like, and she's quiet and just so kind and peaceful. And because I just had this like blonde hair, lots of makeup, Botox, loud. Like that was kind of, and I think that's because, 5 years ago, I guess when I went, that's who was on stage. Who was doing the trainings. That's what it all was. And I truly called him that night and I'm like, she doesn't wear makeup. And it wasn't an accident. She didn't wake up late. Like I remember you saying at jewel training, being like, I'm not going to change who I am. I'm, you know, I'm I'm not gonna wear makeup. I am who I am. I homeschool. You guys can't tell right now. I don't know if it's because her hair is a little damp or her lighting. She's got bright red hair. All of her children have red hair, and we've been meaning to take all of our boys together to the Air Force Museum. And I'm like, people are gonna be like, where did the ginger train like drop off? Because my boys could be her children. And I wanted her to share so much because I've also watched her journey of I remember when you paid off your mortgage, and then I remember like each time you guys buy a new home, because Rob's family's in real estate development, and so they have just pounded in us. Otherwise, I would never believe, oh, you buy homes for investments? Like that was again, I've shared with you guys, my mom taught me like, hey, write a check. This is how she taught me, Deanna. Do you remember at BYU? If I wanted like a new Jessica McClintock dress, my mom would say, write a check. I'll overnight a check for you to deposit it and put it into your account to cover the check you wrote before it bounced. That's the way I was raised. And I remember I tell Rob regularly, I'm like, Megan and her husband got another house. And he's like, could you please go diamond? Like, that's what we're supposed to be doing. And so I watch Megan and I'm like, you guys, if you're not following her already, follow her because she is so authentic, so real, so honest. And I didn't know, you probably shared it at Jill's training, but I didn't know about your infertility issues. And that just, gosh, our products are so amazing. So,
Mhm.
so amazing. Do any of you guys have questions for Megan? Or it also makes me laugh that you would think that you wouldn't earn the cruise
But
because
isn't it crazy? Like, I think it's encouraging for me. Like, I love to see people succeed, but I
yes,
also I also like to hear from people who maybe feel like they're failing, because then I don't feel so alone.
yeah,
Like, I'm not going to wallow in that, but I'm going to move on from it. But it just helps to know that you're not alone in that feeling. Like, no matter what rank you are.
yeah. Judy Fraser wants to know the book you're reading.
I will send that to Christy. It's
Okay.
funny because Emily Burgess was like, when we were in Maui, she was like, you have to read this book. I don't know what the title is. And now I'm doing the same thing. So
Yeah,
I'll message it to Christy, and then
I
she
will
can,
share it. I will
yeah.
share it. I will edit the post where I was announcing that Megan was going to be on our call, and I will share it there.
Hmm.
Any other questions?
Like if you have questions about my makeup routine, I'm happy to share. It's really simple. I love that. Yeah, I didn't know that you called Rob. I don't think I knew that you called him and was like, there's this very plain girl in our Jules training.
Did you notice how Megan said it compared to how I said it? Megan's like, there's this very plain girl. No, I was just like so amazed because I was like, anybody, like, just only because I just had this impression in our head. And I feel like the reason I share that is because I feel like so many of us get an idea of our head and we're like, oh, we're not going to actually reach that level because we don't look like them.
Hmm.
And um, you always just look like somebody I would hang out with, somebody we'd like go to the Air Force Museum. We would be friends, and we are. Whereas there's certain people where you're like, it's almost intimidating. And I don't mean, are you insulted by that? Please don't. I'm like, now I'm saying that
Oh,
and I'm like, I feel like such
I
an ass.
honestly,
Why?
I think like one of the biggest compliments that I can get is that I'm authentic and real and not fake. I don't ever want to come across as fake or not be me. So yeah.
No, you are so authentic and so naturally beautiful and so assured of yourself. Like, that's what I called him. I'm like, she stood up and she was like, this is who I am. I don't wear makeup and I don't really ever intend to wear makeup. And I'm going to go to the top being just who I am, a homeschool mom. And I called Rob, I'm like, it's amazing because in my head, if you guys remember what color did my hair turn when I lived in Fort Lauderdale and I was trying to go emerald? So blonde. So blonde. When did I start getting for Botox? Right before I was trying to go emerald. I had in my head like I needed to look like that to do that. And you changed my whole way of thinking of being like, no, just be you. Now
Mhm.
it's whatever color it is every 6 weeks, but it's much more. And I do like Botox, I'm not gonna lie. But does that make sense? Like I'm not getting lip filler. Rob's like, we're not doing the filler. We're not doing the other things. Okay. And instead of being like, no, because if I do that, I'll go there. I'm just like, no, because look, Megan's got like bukus of houses and she's amazing and she's homeschool and she homeschools four. Y'all know I barely homeschool one. It's like,
Uh,
it's a lot of fun over here in the Barkley house.
okay, someone asked how you take someone from VIP to growing leader. Phew, what a question. When you find out, tell me. I'm just I'm just kidding. Um, so I think the biggest thing that I have to remind myself to do is to remember what it was like to just be starting. I don't know if a lot of you have been in this for a while or if you're new or what, but it can be really easy to forget what it was like in the beginning and how you were like boots on the ground, like running in your business. And so remembering that and going back to that, going back to the basics and helping people with that. Um, so like those 8 people that I signed this past month, we had a really great we have a really great opportunity. If you signed anyone in September, going back to them and being like, hey, did you know that there is a way like that you can earn $547 this month? And I would feel really guilty if I didn't tell you about that. And so from those 8 people that I signed, I shared that with everyone. 3 of them were like, oh, okay. And so, then I was started helping them like coming up with ideas of like, okay, who could you sign to get those for? We can do a 3-way message with them, a 3-way call if we need to. We can come up with some product regimens that might help. I can help you come up with a post. So just running alongside those people. So let them know what the opportunity is. I think so many of us, and even it's really easy to post about the products, not easy to post about the business. So first of all, letting them know about like, here's the potential here. Here's what you could do, especially this month. And then, you know, helping them along the way. It's kind of like, when you've got a baby or a toddler, hand holding them until they kind of get their footing, helping them with posting, helping them with the messages to send out. Um, like those sort of things we kind of forget about because it's just second nature to us at this point in our business, but really breaking it down and making it easy for people to do that. And then just supporting them and breathing life into them, just like my running buddies did for me this month. How can you breathe life into someone or speak life into them and encourage them? Like, you can do this. Like, you are amazing. You are so kind. You love to connect with other people. and showing them the ways that they can do this. And, you know, I think people will kind of show you what they need from you. Like, yes, you know, keep hand holding, or no, just give me some brief ideas and I'll run with that. Um, but just kind of getting on their level, showing them what's possible, and then giving them steps. Like, here's a great post. You could just copy and paste, maybe change the wording a little bit. So you're taking all this guesswork out of it for them. Christy, do you have anything to add
I
to that?
love that so much. I think the only thing that I add when I have somebody who's like willing to post or reach out to people is reminding them. I often will say to them, hey, nothing you send me is a bother.
Mhm.
This is actually my job. And so if you get an objection or if somebody has a question and it's not in a three-way chat, just take a screenshot and send it to me. I said, but, and I always tell them, I'm like, it might take you long time to come up with a response to their objection, but because I've heard every objection 500 times, it's going to take me like 13 seconds. So nothing that you send me for me to help you respond if they're not comfortable putting me in three-way chats for whatever reason, I just tell them, hey, take a screenshot of whatever it is and send it to me so that I can help you answer. Like nothing, letting people know that nothing they ask for from you is a bother.
And like, I was really trying to be intentional too with the people that I just signed in September. Like, I had been given this gift, I'm going to like use it. And so I wanted to provide really good customer care to those people and making sure that I'm continually checking in with them. All, you know, different touch points. I messaged, so I've had them for, you know, two weeks now. So I've messaged them like, hey, there's this really great program we have called Pivotal. It'll help with your meal plans and your exercises. So that was one touch point. Another one was telling them about the October promotions. You know, I've been checking in to see how they're doing with their products. I sent all of them who did not have one a frother from Amazon. You can order them for like $5. And I like to send those out because it's like a little personal touch and it helps their drinks mix up and like them better. And it shows people like, hey, I care. I'm not just someone you ordered from once, once. I'm someone who's like invested in your journey. So just trying to provide awesome customer care so that then they can duplicate that to their customers. They're not just signing people up and then kind of letting them, just be, but they're like, okay, well, I'll do this for this person because that's what you did for me and that helped me feel connected.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you mentioned the frother because I either do that or a bigger blender bottle when I get them at TJ Maxx. But like on Prime days, the frothers were so cheap. I ordered a ton of them. And Rob's like, what are we doing? And I'm like, we're about to grow our team and they're all gonna get frothers. But it, like Megan said, it's like $5, $6 and you put a handwritten note, maybe some other samples of something they didn't order. And that's just awesome customer service.
And if
Awesome.
you need like a shortcut, you can just send it straight from Amazon. And I just
Yeah.
like type a little note in my gift. Christy is
Yes.
she's amazing and going above and beyond here. And I'm just like, hey, thanks for ordering. Here's the frother. But yeah,
I like your idea too.
free
Super
shipping.
easy.
Um,
Super easy.
yes. So
Anybody have any other questions? No? Thank you, Megan.
of course, yeah, it
Thank
was
you,
so
thank you,
great
thank
to see
you.
you guys.
You're amazing. You're amazing. Thank you for all of our tips and places that we need to be showing up. You're awesome. And everybody else stay on for just a minute, but we're gonna let Megan go back to her family. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You
Love
guys have a
you.
good night. See you
Bye.
on the cruise.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
How great was that? Yay, you guys are gonna love next week too. Nicole Musso is on next week, and she's one of my favorites. The reason, I will not keep you long, but the reason I wanted you to stay on is if you need help mapping out Earning Leaders Retreat, I just mapped it out for someone who is only at 260 points. And so I already have that, and that the way I mapped it out has her ending at like 1700. So if you are kind of in that 50 to 200 range, I already have it mapped out. And I was kind of blown away when I did it. I was like, this actually doesn't look very hard. This doesn't look very hard. This does not look unachievable. So if you want that from me, or if where you're looking and you're like, hey, I want 1,700 more points. I have it already written up and mapped out in an Excel sheet and then written up right now for 1,700 more points through the end of the month. And that would even be like almost no retention because this person hadn't signed anybody in August and September. So I wanted to let you know it's no bother because I've already done it. So if you want that, reach out to me. Wanted to remind you about this book. You guys, I just read chapter 1 today. It's so good. Lori, why are you making that face? Did you not know we're doing this book this month? You look like you were making a face at me, like I'm bananas.
No, I was thinking about the 1,700 more points and
Where that would put you?
yeah. So sorry.
Might
That
put
was
you shopping. Okay, so if you guys want that, let me know. I'll send it to you. Let me tell you only a snippet. I'm not going to tell you a snippet of anything. What I'm going to tell you is one of the things that kind of scared me about this book is I thought to myself, I don't have any more hours in the day. How am I going to 10x anything? Right. And what I learned in chapter 1 was that is 2x thinking. If you only want to grow by 2x, 2 times something, grow by 20% of something, he talks about you don't have to change much. It's kind of like turning your volume from like 3 to 4. You don't have to change much. You maybe reach out to one more person a day to grow your points over the year by just 2x. And he talks about that's more time consuming, right? Reaching out to 1 or 2 more people a day, but otherwise doing everything else the same, it takes more time. When you make a commitment to 10x, first of all, I don't remember where we were, but you've probably all had this experience where somebody says, what's your goal? How much do you want to earn this year? And somebody says, 150,000 a year. And they go, okay, do you think you can do it? And the person's like, well, yeah, if I do this and this and this and this, and I could do it. But in this, he's like, if you think you can do it at all, that's not the big enough goal. Take it to like, do you think you could earn 600,000, 700,000 this year? And if that makes you're like, no, I have no idea how I would do that, then that's more your goal. And the reason is to 2x something, there's lots of different things you could change. Maybe you post more, maybe you reach out more, maybe you do more one-on-one coaching with your people, but there's lots of ways. When you choose a goal that is so big, there's really only one way to get there. And you're going to have to remove all of the distractions to get there. And you're going to have to focus on a few things and do them really, really, really well to get there, but you're going to work less because you're going to get rid of all the crap. So I have not even touched on chapter 1, but what I wanted you to get out of this is 2x means working more to grow just a little bit, and 10x means working less hours to grow big time. And if any of you saw the podcast I shared by Brittany Howard in Gold Diggers yesterday, I hadn't even finished listening to it when I posted that. I just thought it was so good. And then in it, she talks about this book changing the entire trajectory of her business. So if you can't get on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Central with us, get the book anyway and watch the recordings because we record them. And this one, I think, you guys know me. I read all the books and usually I'm like, wah, wah, okay, let's do another book. This one, after chapter 1, I was like, oh, okay. Christy Barkley is going to go diamond because this book is going to be that good. All right. So book. Next week, Nicole Musso. What questions do you guys have? We are still doing the gut health chats. on Wednesdays, Wednesday nights, and Saturday mornings. If you are not in those and you want to be, reach out to Shay, Deanna, or I. Don't forget about those. Don't forget to tell people. That's just a touch point. If you've shared Plexus at all, okay? And then if you remember on the first, when we had you calculate how many reach outs you're supposed to do, you got 10 more days. Where are you? You don't have to tell me, just tell yourself. If you decided you'd reach out to 80 people, remember that was by the 25th. So if you've only reached out to 10, you got 10 days to reach out to how many ever people. Yep. Whatever it was, because in the last 6 days, we're going to follow up like crazy because we all are going to go shopping at Bloomingdale's with our suntans, and then we're going to get warm fuzzy coats at Bloomingdale's because we're going to go to Alaska on a boat. Okay? All right. Message me if you need anything, and be sure next Tuesday, because you're going to really love Nicole, who has already swept the contest in 1 month as a senior Ruby. Okay? She's awesome. All right. I love you guys. Bye.